Tonight, we're not stepping into the mind of a philosopher. We're stepping onto a rotting wooden deck, where the air smells like salt, blood, and extremely bad decisions. No polished uniforms, no honor-bound oaths, just rum-soaked outlaws with terrible dental hygiene and even worse tempers. This isn't your theme park version of piracy. No parrots, no catchy songs. Tonight, we dive into the real world of pirates, where the only law was survival and the sea didn't forgive mistakes. So, before you get comfortable, do me a favor. Like the video if you want more of this chaos, and drop a comment with where you're listening from and what time it is. I love seeing just how far this madness reaches. Now, dim the lights, grab something sharp, and let's set sail into the brutal, filthy, and somehow legendary world of pirates. Just don't get too attached to your limbs. Let's set the record straight. Pirate life wasn't glamorous. It wasn't thrilling. It wasn't some swashbuckling fantasy with flowing coats and triumphant music. It was disease. It was starvation. It was waking up every morning unsure if you'd be stabbed in your sleep, drowned by accident, or eaten by sharks because someone pushed you off the deck as a joke. But people still chose it. Not for adventure, for escape. You didn't become a pirate because you had options. You became a pirate because the world didn't give you any. You were poor. You were hunted. You were disposable. You were born into a system designed to keep you exactly where you were. Invisible. Piracy offered something that few things in the 17th century did. The illusion of freedom. You didn't need a title. You didn't need noble blood. You didn't need land. You just needed desperation, a tolerance for violence, and the willingness to bleed for your own survival. And so you ended up here, floating on a half-rotten ship held together by spit, superstition, and splinters. Waking up in the dark belly of that beast, where every breath tastes like mildew and regret. The timbers creak above your head like the moans of old ghosts, and you can never quite tell if it's the wood groaning or a man dying in his sleep. Your body already aches, even though the sun hasn't risen. Not that you can see it anyway. You only know it's dawn when the shouting starts. Up, dogs! Boots hit the deck above. Someone gets kicked awake. You roll out of your hammock, if you're lucky enough to have one. Most don't. Most sleep on splintered boards, curled around sacks of stale grain or barrels of brackish water. You wipe your face with a sleeve that smells like fish and oil. That's not unusual. That's just life now. Rats scurry past your feet. Some are missing tails, some are missing eyes. One of them looks at you with more confidence than you currently have. You nod in silent respect. You both know who really runs this ship. You stretch your legs, but everything's damp. Your shirt, your hair, your lungs. It's a wetness that never goes away. The kind that seeps into your bones and makes you feel old before your time. Your back is tight. Your hands are cracked. And there's a tooth in your mouth that's been threatening to leave for days now. You don't know which day it'll choose, but when it does, there won't be a dentist. Just a bottle of rum and someone with a knife. Breakfast is a lie. They call it that, but what you're really eating is survival in solid form. Salted meat hard as wood. Weevils crawling through biscuits so dry they could double as building material. You tap it against the table before biting. Not for luck, but to knock anything out that might still be living in it. Dried peas boiled into a green paste that tastes like defeat. If it's slimy, that's a win. It means it's edible. If it smells off, you hold your breath. If it moves, you kill it. Then you eat it anyway. You learn quickly not to complain. The last guy who did ended up scrubbing the heads with a broken brush and a black eye. You chew fast. You don't ask questions. You don't make eye contact. Then it's work. Always work. Cleaning the deck, mending sails, hauling lines until your fingers blister, climbing up the rigging barefoot in wind that wants to rip you off the mast and throw you into the mouth of the sea. You do it anyway. Because if you don't, someone else will, and then you're just another mouth they don't need to feed. The sun is punishing. The wind is cruel. The ship never stops moving, never stops creaking, never stops reminding you that it could break apart at any moment and send you screaming into the depths. And the ocean doesn't care. You fall in, you vanish. No funeral, no one yells man overboard. You just become part of the blue. And if the crew does notice, maybe someone shrugs, maybe someone laughs. Either way, your spot in the hold is taken before your body hits the bottom. You try not to make enemies, but it's impossible. The ship is too small. The egos are too big. Every man on board thinks he's harder than the next. You look at someone wrong and it's a fight. You speak too loud and it's a knife in your side. You breathe too heavy near someone's hammock and you wake up with a boot on your throat. There is no privacy. There's no mercy. Just routine. Just repetition. Just survival. And yet, somehow for you, it's better than where you came from. Because back on land, you were invisible. Just another cog in someone else's machine. Another back to break in a field. Another stomach to ignore in a factory. Another body to throw in a war that wasn't yours. Out here, at least your pain is yours. Not for a master, not for a crown, not for a flag. Here, you earn what you steal. You live how you can, and when you die, it's on your terms. Or as close to that as the sea allows. It's not freedom, but it's close enough to pretend. You work until your hands bleed, until your legs give out, until your eyes sting from salt and sun. You sleep in your clothes, you sweat through your boots. You drink rainwater caught in a canvas sheet and count it as a good day. And when the storm comes, because it always does, you learn what fear truly is. Black skies, screaming wind, waves taller than your ship, lightning so close you see the bones in your fingers, men thrown overboard like dolls, wood snapping like ribs. You tie yourself to the mast. You shout prayers into the wind. You laugh when they go unanswered. And when the storm finally passes and the sun returns and half the crew is gone, you feel something. Not relief, not victory. Just breathe. Just one more day. And you start again. Still want to be a pirate? Good. Because this was the easy part. You think the ship is your refuge? It's not. It's your prison. Not the kind with cells and bars. The kind where your cellmates carry knives, and the guards are just as likely to gut you as look at you. Where the walls shift, the floors sway, and every morning starts with the same question. Will I make it to tomorrow? This ship, this creaking, groaning, rotting slab of wood, is your entire world now. It smells like wet rope, old blood, mildew, and piss. And yet it's the only place on Earth where no king controls you. No landlord owns you. No one tracks your debts. Just the wind, the current, and the threat of mutiny. But don't mistake it for freedom. It's just a different kind of sentence. There's no privacy, not for a second. You live shoulder to shoulder with men who haven't bathed in weeks, whose breath could kill crops, whose tempers flare like fire on oil. Men with haunted eyes and scarred hands. Some are barely more than boys. Others look like they crawled out of the sea itself. You sleep where you can. A hammock if you're lucky. A damp corner of the hold if you're not. Some just collapse where they're standing, too exhausted to care. The rocking of the ship becomes your lullaby. The rats your neighbors. There are rules, but they shift. Unwritten codes passed by glances and grunts. Say too much and you're dead. Say too little and you're suspect. Laugh at the wrong time? Someone takes it as disrespect. Take the last bit of food? Suddenly your ribs are broken. No one's looking out for you. You fend for yourself. Always. You sharpen your blade not because you're expecting a fight, but because you know one's coming. Meals are worse than rumors. Moldy biscuits. Salted meat so hard it chips your teeth. Soupy slop with mystery chunks that might once have been edible. Water that tastes like rust and despair. You drink because you have to. You eat because you're too tired to die. There's a hierarchy here. Unspoken. Felt. The quartermaster runs the crew, sometimes more than the captain. He decides punishments. He settles disputes. He makes sure you get your share, unless he doesn't like you. Then suddenly your share shrinks and your workload grows. The captain? He's not some noble leader with a compass and a dream. He's the biggest bastard of the bunch. A man with blood under his fingernails and a stare that makes your spine itch. He's been through things, he's done things. Things he doesn't talk about, things no one asks about. But even he answers to the crew. Mutiny isn't just a threat, it's a tradition. If you push too hard, if the crew suffers too long, if the loot dries up, you're overboard. Or hanging from your own mast. The only real law here is numbers. The days blend. Each one a repeat of the last. Haul, scrub, climb, bail, sweat, curse, bleed, repeat. The sun tries to cook you alive. The salt water eats your skin. Your hands blister. Your eyes burn. Your knees ache from bracing against the tilt of the deck. Your back knots like a coiled rope, and still you move. Still you obey. Because to stop is to stand out. And to stand out is to get noticed. And getting noticed, that's how you die. When night comes, you don't rest. You just pause. You lie in your hammock, one hand on your blade, one ear open. Listening, always listening, for the wrong footstep, the wrong whisper, the sound of steel sliding from a sheath. You sleep in short bursts, dreams broken by jolts of paranoia. The only comfort is routine, not because it's pleasant, but because it's predictable. And in this place, predictability is rare. Sometimes someone cracks. A young boy, maybe. Joined too early. Talked too much. Didn't understand what silence meant. You hear the beating. You hear the begging. You look away. Because if you intervene, you're next. And tomorrow, someone else will take his place. Sometimes a man jumps. Just climbs the rail and goes over. No goodbye. No hesitation. Just silence, then splash. And nothing more. No one speaks of it, no one marks it. He just stops being your problem. You wonder if you'll be next. You wonder if the voice in your head, the one that started whispering on day 3 and now talks like an old friend, will finally win. You wonder how many more sunrises your body can handle. How many more insults. How many more storms. Then you hear laughter. Drunken, harsh, joyless. But it cuts through the dark like a knife. A group of men tossing dice, cheating, yelling, spilling cheap rum, and pretending, just for a moment, that they're anywhere else. You sit up, you join them. Because pretending is all you've got. You laugh at nothing, you drink too fast, you don't care that it burns your throat. You let yourself forget for 5 minutes, maybe 10, maybe longer. And in those minutes, you feel something dangerous. You feel almost human. But it passes. It always does. The bottle empties. The dice are pocketed. The men drift away. One starts singing a shanty. Another throws up over the rail. A third stares at the stars like they owe him money. You crawl back to your place. You breathe in rot. You breathe out salt. And you dream of things that don't exist anymore. Soft beds, warm food, a sky that doesn't want to kill you. You wake with a start. Someone's shouting again. Someone's always shouting, and it begins again. Because you're not on an adventure, you're not on a journey, you're serving a sentence. And the sea is your warden. Still romanticize piracy? Wait until we tell you about the raid. Let's talk about raids. You've heard the stories. Pirates storming a ship, swinging from ropes with daggers between their teeth, gold flying through the air, rum flowing like rivers, and victory songs echoing under a red sky. But those are stories. Fantasies told by drunkards and playwrights who never smelled blood on wet wood. The real thing? It's chaos. Screaming, fire, iron against bone. It starts long before the first blade is drawn. It begins with a shape on the horizon. Tiny, suspicious. Your captain sees it first, or maybe the lookout. Doesn't matter. Everyone feels it. A shift in the wind, a drop in the air pressure. The crew suddenly alert, like dogs scenting blood. Someone sharpens a blade without being told. Someone stops mid-sentence and just stares. You want it to be a merchant. You pray it's not a warship. You tell yourself it'll go smooth. Fast. Bloodless if the gods are in a good mood. But they rarely are. A merchant ship, that's the prize. Fat and slow. Maybe carrying sugar. Maybe silk. Maybe gold. Maybe people. No one says that part out loud, but you all know it's possible. Every ship has cargo. Every cargo has a price. Orders bark out. The captain points. The helmsman adjusts. The ship shifts direction with a groan. Sails are trimmed. Guns readied. The deck transforms. Lazy, lounging turns to lethal intent. You get your gear. You check it twice. Blade? Sharp enough to split a hair. Pistol? Dry powder, loaded tight. Rope coiled around your shoulder. You wrap a strip of cloth around your wrist, for luck or for death. You say a prayer or you don't. Gods don't sail this far out. Then comes the long stretch. You stare at the growing silhouette of the target. You eat with shaking hands. You piss over the side. You clench your jaw so hard it aches. Every creak, every gust of wind feels louder, bigger, important. You rehearse it in your head, where you'll jump, who you'll hit first, what you'll grab, what you'll do if your leg gets sliced open, what you'll do if someone begs you for mercy. They spot you. Sometimes they raise white, a flag of surrender. No fight, just give us your goods and leave us our lives. Sometimes they fire first. That's when things go to hell. This time they panic. They don't surrender, they don't fire, they run. Big mistake? Your ship is faster, leaner, hungrier. You close the gap. Water churns, sails boom. The lookout howls like a wolf. You grab the rope. You take your place. You hear the captain yell, something about honor or death or fate. No one listens. Everyone knows the truth. It's kill or be killed. Then you're close enough to see faces. They're terrified. Good. The hook is thrown. It catches. Then another. Then another. You run. You leap. The first thing that hits you is the smell. Sweat, smoke, shit, steel. Then comes the heat. Then the noise. Gunfire, screams. Steel on steel. You land hard. Someone swings at you. You duck. You slash. You feel your blade hit flesh. A scream. Blood. You shove past. The world narrows. You see nothing but motion. Hands, faces, knives, boots, splinters. You step over a dying man. You stab another. You slip. Someone grabs your arm. You break free. A cannon goes off. The deck bucks. A mast cracks. Smoke blinds you. You cough. Someone grabs your coat. You spin. Your elbow cracks a jaw. You drive your blade upward. You feel resistance, then nothing. You hear crying, praying, begging. You ignore it. You have one job: survive. The others are with you, shouting, laughing, killing, looting. A boy, no older than 14, runs past you. He's not a fighter. He's cargo. He's in the way. You let him go. A mistake. He comes back with a knife. Swings, misses. You don't. You reach the hold. It's chaos. Chests opened, barrels cracked, coins scattered. Someone smashes a wine bottle, another fills his coat with jewels. A third stuffs dried meat into his mouth with both hands. You grab a box. Heavy. Doesn't matter what's inside. Yours now. The fight dies down. The deck is quiet. Blood still drips. Smoke still rises. But the screams have stopped. They surrendered. Or died. Doesn't matter which. You see the captain of the other ship on his knees. or what's left of him. One arm gone, blood like a river, staring at nothing. Someone ends it quick or slow. Depends who finds him first. You don't watch. Back on your ship, the crates are stacked. The dead are counted, the wounded are ignored. A man with no eye lights a pipe. A man with no fingers tries to drink rum and spills it down his chest. You sit. Your blade is notched. Your arm shakes. There's blood on your face. You don't know if it's yours. Someone tries to sing. The song falters. No one joins in. Later, the drinking starts. It always does. You drink because if you don't, you'll see the boy's face again, the one who ran, the one who came back, the one who didn't scream when you cut him. You tell yourself he would have killed you, that you had no choice, that it was him or you. You lie. Because you did have a choice. You chose survival. That's what pirates do. You laugh too loud. You curse too hard. You grip your mug like it's a weapon. You smile with teeth. You dance on a deck still sticky with blood. And you pretend it's victory. In the morning, the wind is quiet. The sea is still. You bury your dead. You don't name them. You don't cry. You toss them overboard. One by one. The splash is your last goodbye. Then you clean the deck. You sharpen your blade. You wait for the next shadow on the horizon. Because this is what piracy is. Blood. Guilt. Pretending. And waiting for it to happen all over again. You survived the raid. You survived the blood, the fire, the screams, and now you return to the routine. Because out here, there's no such thing as peace. There's just the quiet between storms. The sun returns, but it doesn't feel warm. It feels like judgment. It shines down on the bloodstains you didn't scrub well enough. On the broken boards, on the empty hammocks, on the faces of men who still breathe but don't blink. No one talks about the raid, not directly. They mention the haul, the coin, the sugar, the barrels, but not the men who screamed, not the smell of burned skin, not the boy with the knife. That all gets buried, somewhere deep in the space between your lungs and your memory. That's where the guilt goes. That's where the horror lives. Locked away, waiting, the loot is counted. Split. Most of it goes to the officers. The captain takes the lion's share. The quartermaster distributes what's left. You get a few coins, maybe a ring, maybe a bottle of something strong. You tell yourself it's enough. You tell yourself it was worth it. You don't believe it. Then you go back to work. Decks still need cleaning. Sails still need mending. The ship didn't fix itself just because you nearly died. The sea doesn't care what you've done. It just wants to keep moving. And so do you. Your body protests. Every muscle screams. You've got a gash on your side. You wrap it in cloth and salt water and call it healing. A tooth is loose. Your knuckles are raw. Your wrist won't bend. Doesn't matter. You can still swing a rope. You can still pull your weight. And that's all that counts. At night, there's silence. Or what passes for it. Snoring. Rats. The ocean whispering through the gaps in the hull. A man moaning in his sleep. Another muttering to someone who isn't there. The sound of water dripping somewhere you can't see. You lie still, staring into the dark, and try not to think. But the thoughts always come. You think about the face of the man you killed. Or maybe it was a woman. You didn't look too closely. You think about the boy, the eyes, the fear, the blade. You think about what you've become, about what you'll have to do again, about how much more of yourself you're willing to lose for a few more weeks above water. You think about what you were before this. Do you even remember? Were you a farmer, a thief, a runaway, a soldier? It blurs now. Whatever life you lived before the ocean, it's been drowned by the salt. You turn over, you try to sleep. The next day is the same, and the next, and the next. Routine, work, eat, wait, mend, haul, scrub, bleed, laugh, drink, pretend. You clean blood that isn't yours. You eat food that tastes like old rope and ash. You laugh at jokes you don't understand because not laughing would make you a target. You drink water that tastes like metal and spit. You close your eyes and see fire. The bruises fade, the cuts close, but something deeper doesn't. You feel it in the way you flinch when someone raises their voice, in the way you grip your knife a little too tight, in the way you stare at the horizon, wondering if maybe next time you won't survive. And if that would be so bad. You begin to feel invisible again. Just another shape in the fog. Another pair of boots on a swaying deck. No one calls your name, no one looks you in the eye. You could vanish and no one would notice. You already have. One morning you wake to shouting, but it's not an attack. It's a storm. You rush to deck. The sky is black, the sea is gray. The wind howls like it hates you personally. Rain lashes your face. The ship lurches. Men scream. Orders are barked. You can't hear them. Doesn't matter. You know the drill. Reef the sails, lash the barrels, secure the lines, bail the water. Pray to the deep. The storm hits hard. Waves crash over the deck. A mast cracks. A man is swept overboard. You see him go. You don't even yell. No one does. It's too late. He's gone. Just another name that won't be spoken. You cling to the rigging. Your fingers bleed. Your shoulders scream. The salt blinds you. The cold eats you alive. Your bones feel like glass. Still you hold. Lightning strikes the ocean. For a moment the world is white, then black again, then white, then black. The ship moans, wood splits, a sail tears. Someone falls. You don't know if they're dead. You don't stop to check. It gets inside your head, the wind, the water, the weight, the fear, the realization that this could be it. That the sea doesn't care if you've fought or stolen or cried or loved. It swallows everything the same. Hours pass, maybe days. Time doesn't exist in storms. Only movement, only noise, only survival. Then finally, stillness. The sea calms, the wind dies, the rain stops. You lie on the deck, gasping, soaked, shaking, alive. Someone laughs. It sounds more like a sob. Another lights a pipe with trembling hands. Another kisses the deck. You sit up. You look around. The ship's still floating. Somehow. Not whole, but not sunk. You made it. Again. Let's talk about silence. Not the peaceful kind. Not the quiet you find in forests or libraries. This is the kind of silence that presses against your skull. The kind that makes you hear your own breath too loudly. The kind that builds in the hours after the storm. Not because everything is calm, but because everything inside you is still screaming. And there's no one left to hear it. You survived again. And now the ocean wants to see what that's done to you. The days are long. Longer than they were before. Not because the sun changed, but because something inside you has. Because there's less laughter, less color, less anything. You'll start to count things. Steps to the bow, cracks in the mast, the number of splinters in your bunk's edge. How many times the cook uses the same joke. How often the rats show up in the same hole. You're not sure why you count. Maybe because it's something your mind can grab onto. Maybe because numbers don't bleed. You begin to assign stories to those numbers. Crack number 4? That's from when a barrel of tar fell. Splinter number 12? That one stabs your finger every time you try to sleep. You give the rats names. The one with the chewed tail is Henry. The bold one that stole your biscuit is Anne. These are your companions now. The others feel it too. The shift, they joke less, drink more. They don't argue as much, but that's not peace. That's exhaustion. That's fear, wearing itself like calm. Like a lion pretending to sleep, like a wound pretending to be a scar. The sky stretches above you and it's too wide. The ocean stretches below and it's too deep. You are a dot between them, held aloft by rotting wood and hope, and guilt, and instinct. And you start to think, maybe the worst thing isn't dying. Maybe it's surviving long enough to become like them. There's a man on board named Ellis. Been sailing for 20 years. Doesn't blink when storms hit. Doesn't flinch at screams. Eyes like polished stone. No one knows where he's from or what he's done. You watch him sometimes. He eats with precision, sleeps in silence, never laughs, never jokes. When someone makes noise near him, they stop. Automatically, like instinct, like fear. You wonder, is that who you'll become? One morning, Ellis sits beside you. Doesn't speak, just sits. Chews on a piece of dried meat. His hands are covered in old scars. His nails are black from rope burn. He looks in the horizon and says, "You count yet?" You nod. He grunts. "Good. Means your mind's still trying to hold on." Then he gets up, walks away. That's the longest conversation you've had in a week. The ship sails on. A gull lands on the railing. The crew stares at it like it's a sign. Maybe land nearby? Maybe just a curious bird. It pecks at a knot, flaps its wings, leaves. No one speaks. That night you dream, but not of storms. You dream of dirt, of streets, of a window with sunlight pouring in, a voice calling your name, a hand touching yours, warm, familiar, human. You wake up gasping. It's still dark. The ocean still breathes beneath you. The rats still scratch in the corners. And the warmth is gone. You sit up. You think about desertion. It's a forbidden thought. But it shows up anyway, like a stowaway hiding in your skull. You could jump, swim, try for land, die trying. Or maybe you could vanish next time you make port. Disappear into a city. Change your name. Start over. But you know better. Deserters are hunted. Some say the captain sends men after them. Some say the sea does. Either way, no one gets far. Still, now you wonder. The days stretch. Another week. Another deck to scrub. Another rope to haul. Another cut to dress with spit and hope. The food tastes worse. The water smells like rust. Someone laughs too loudly at something that wasn't funny. No one joins in. You stare into your bowl of stew and wonder what animal it used to be. You don't ask. No one asks anymore. Then finally, land. A speck at first, then a line, then a shape. You don't cheer. No one does. You prepare. The crew used to joke that blood was thicker than water, but salt was thicker than both. It sounded clever at the time. Like something a drunk old pirate might say in a tavern. Cup raised high, voice full of false wisdom. But after a few months on the ship, after the raids, the storms, the silences, it starts to feel more like a law. A bitter, cruel truth that writes itself across your skin in bruises, scars, and salt. You learn quickly that brotherhood at sea is not like it is on land. There are no shared last names, no family heirlooms, no oaths spoken under warm hearths. Brotherhood here is built with blood spilled beside one another, not for one another. You watch a man die, not because he had to, but because someone didn't like the way he looked at a bottle. The fight lasted seconds. The fall lasted longer. He didn't scream. No one did. They wrapped him in canvas and slipped him into the sea like cargo. He vanished without a splash. Later that night, the man who killed him drank with the others, laughing. He'd been on the ship longer. That was all that mattered. There are ranks on board, but not just the ones listed on parchment. There are the spoken hierarchies: captain, quartermaster, boatswain. But there are also unspoken ones. The loyal, the feared, the useful, and the invisible. You're still somewhere near the bottom, but not at the very end anymore. You've lasted. You've bled. You've proved something to someone. maybe even to yourself. There's a boy on board now. New, no more than 16, freckles, hair like straw. Doesn't talk much. Carries a blade too big for his hand. You see yourself in him. The way he flinches at the creak of the hull. The way he watches the others eat, as if waiting for someone to slap the bowl from his hands. The way he grips his knife like it's the only thing keeping him from being swallowed. You try not to care. Caring is dangerous. Caring makes you hesitate, and hesitation gets you killed. But you catch yourself leaving an extra scrap of bread near its bunk. You help him tie a knot without shouting. You tell yourself it's pity, not connection. Survival, not sentiment. Still, it grows. One night, you find him crying behind the water barrels. He doesn't speak. Just sits there, knees to his chest, shaking. You sit beside him, say nothing. Just sit. Eventually, he says, "They killed my brother. I saw it. Back in the last port. They slit his throat and made me watch. Then they brought me aboard. Said I was lucky." You say nothing, because there is nothing to say. After that, he follows you, doesn't speak much. But his eyes find you in a crowd, in a storm, in the dark. Ellis notices. "He's your shadow now," he says. "Be careful, shadows cling. And they bleed too." You nod. But deep down, you're already committed. You've already made the mistake of seeing him as more than just another pair of hands. You teach him how to patch a sail without tearing the fabric. How to hold a blade without looking like you're afraid of it. How to spot the beginnings of a mutiny and the way men gather in corners and go silent when you pass. You teach him too well. And then comes the betrayal. It doesn't come with a knife. It comes with a whisper. The boy is caught snooping near the captain's quarters. He says he was just curious, just looking. But the captain doesn't care. He's not the forgiving type. He doesn't yell. He just stares. "Someone put him up to it," the captain says later. A boy like that doesn't move on his own. Someone's pulling his strings. And all eyes turn to you. Not because you told him to, but because you're the one he talks to. Because you're the one who sat beside him. Because you broke the rules. Ellis finds you that night, tosses a knife into your lap. "You've got a choice," he says. "Make it before someone makes it for you." You stare at the blade. The edge is dull, the handle worn. It smells like salt and rust and old decisions. The boy is locked in the supply room, tied up, eyes wide. He doesn't plead. He doesn't cry. He just looks at you like he understands. Like he knew this was coming. You sit beside him, say nothing. "I didn't mean to get you in trouble," he says. You nod. You believe him. And it doesn't matter. You don't kill him. You do something worse. You walk away. The next morning, he's gone. They say he was tossed overboard during the night. Slipped out, tried to escape. The current took him. You don't ask questions, you don't speak. You just clean your blade and tie your boots and do the work. Later, Ellis sits beside you. "You didn't do it," he says. "No, but you'd let it happen." "Yes." He nods. "Good. You'll last." You feel nothing, or maybe you feel everything at once. Shame, relief, fury, emptiness. They all hit at once and cancel each other out, leaving you with silence. The same silence you've been drowning in for weeks. But now it feels thicker. Now it feels permanent. You close your eyes, and the ship keeps sailing. You lie awake that night, staring at the planks above you. They creak softly with the ship's sway, like a lullaby sung by something cruel. You imagine the boy's last moments, the cold, the black, the salt flooding his lungs. You wonder if he thought of you, if he hoped you'd come back. You wonder if he cursed your name. The guilt doesn't come all at once. It seeps in, slow. A tide rising beneath your ribs. You try to push it down, drown it in sweat and silence and labor. But it's always there. In the way your hand pauses over a blade. In the way you no longer meet Ellis's gaze. In the way you avoid the spot behind the water barrels. You hear whispers now. Not from ghosts, but from the crew. They don't say it loud, but you know what they mean. That you let it happen. That you didn't stop it. That maybe you're more like the captain than you thought. One day, a storm hits. Sudden. Brutal. The kind that rips sails and tosses men into the dark. You lash yourself to the rail. Waves crash. Lightning tears the sky. And in that chaos, you see him, just for a moment. A shape in the water, pale, drifting, eyes wide, mouth open in a scream you can't hear. Then he's gone. You blink. Shake your head. It was nothing. A trick of light. A memory masquerading as reality. But you don't sleep that night. You sit on deck, soaked to the bone, clutching your coat like armor. Ellis walks past, says nothing, but he sits nearby. You both stare at the horizon until the sky lightens, until the sea calms, until the silence returns. You never really know how close you are to mutiny until the night someone doesn't show up for their shift. At first, it's small. A man fails to swab the deck when ordered. Another snaps back at the quartermaster. A fight breaks out over a bucket of fresh water. You think it's stress? You think it's the heat. The endless days of rocking and repetition. You tell yourself things like this happen. That they pass. But they don't. They build like pressure under your feet. Like rot in the hull. You don't see it until it's too late. The captain has grown quieter, sharper. His gaze lingers on the crew too long. His commands come colder now, like ice slivers sliding down your spine. Rumors say he hasn't slept in days, that he talks to himself, that he's seen something on the horizon the rest of you can't. The men whisper in corners. At night, when the lanterns flicker and the sky presses down, you hear words passed like poison. We'd be better off without him. He's lost his mind. We're not going to survive another storm if he's still at the helm. You don't join those conversations, but you hear them. And you stop yourself from shutting them down. Because maybe they're right. The storms are getting worse. You used to see them coming, a dark line on the horizon, a shift in the wind. Now they rise without warning, hammering the ship with all the fury of gods gone mad. The sea doesn't roar anymore, it screams, like it wants to swallow everything that dares float across its surface. One storm tears the sails clean from the mainmast. A man is swept overboard. You don't even see who. Just a scream, then nothing. The crew looks to the captain for orders. He mutters something about sacrifice, about the sea's hunger, then walks below deck without another word. Ellis stands beside you, arms crossed, soaked to the bone. This ship's starting to smell like death, he mutters. You nod. You smell it too. Not just rot, not just mildew, something deeper. The scent of fear that's turned stale. The kind that lingers in places where people no longer hope. The next morning, food is gone. Not missing, stolen. A barrel of salted meat, a sack of hardtack, 3 bottles of water. The captain orders a search, accuses a young sailor, barely more than a boy. They find nothing in his bunk, but that doesn't stop the punishment. They lash him in front of everyone, 20 strokes, bare back. Splinters embedded in flesh. He doesn't cry. He just bites his lip until it bleeds. The rest of you watch. Silent, faces blank. No one moves to stop it. No one meets each other's eyes. That night, the whispering turns into something more. Plans, names, timelines. You hear your own name mentioned. Not as a target, but as a potential leader. You don't say yes, but you don't say no. And that's enough. Ellis finds you sharpening your knife under moonlight. He doesn't speak for a while, then he says, "You ever seen a man crack from the inside out?" You glance at him. That's what's happening to him, Ellis continues, piece by piece. And when he finally breaks, he's not going alone. He's taking this whole ship with him. You nod because you've already seen it. The haunted look in the captain's eyes, the shaking hands, the strange muttering when he thinks no one is near. The next day, a knife goes missing, then a pistol, then powder. The quartermaster reports it. The captain doesn't even respond, just nods slowly, eyes unfocused, fingers twitching against the railing. He starts spending more time below deck. You hear strange noises from his quarters, chants, laughs, sometimes sobbing. And when he does appear, he reeks of something foul. Rum, maybe. Or worse, he speaks of visions. Says the sea is speaking to him. That she wants blood. That she's angry. That she told him her voice would lead them to glory. The crew is terrified. Not of the storm. Of the man steering them straight into it. You sleep less now. Keep your knife closer. Watch Ellis more closely. He watches everyone. You're not sure whose side he's on. Maybe not even his own. A sailor named Hobbs tries to desert. Jumps overboard in the dead of night. No one raises the alarm. No one tries to stop him. You watch the dark waves swallow him whole. The next morning, the captain finds his absence and orders punishment anyway. 10 lashes to a man picked at random, as an example. You don't ask questions. Then comes the night it all breaks. You're woken by shouting, metal on wood, boots on deck. Someone's lit a lantern. The light swings wildly. You scramble up, blade in hand, and emerge to chaos. 2 men are wrestling with the helmsman. Blood splatters the wheel. The captain stands above them on the quarterdeck, pistol drawn, eyes wild. His coat hangs open. His chest is bare. His face is smeared with something dark. Ash or paint or madness. Traitors! He hisses. All of you. I gave you everything, and you spit on it. A gunshot rings out. One of the mutineers falls, not dead, wounded. He screams, grabs his leg, the others freeze. That hesitation is all the captain needs. He leaps down, lands hard, kicks the man's weapon away, fires again, misses. Then everything explodes. Fists, blades, screams. The crew splinters into factions. Some fight for the captain, most don't. You dodge a swing, drive your blade into a man's side, twist. He drops. Blood pools fast. Another comes at you. Ellis intercepts. Elbow to the throat. Crack, collapse. The storm above matches the one below. Wind howls. Rain slaps the deck. Lightning turns faces into skulls. You see the captain brawling with 3 men at once. He fights like a cornered animal. No technique, just fury. A blade catches him in the arm. He roars, slams a man's head into the mast. Then he sees you. His eyes widen. Recognition, betrayal. He raises the pistol. You move. A shot, a flash, a scream. You don't know if it was you. You hit the deck, roll, come up swinging. The captain's gone. Smoke lingers, then silence. Not peace. The kind of silence that fills a grave. Bodies litter the deck, groaning, bleeding, some not moving at all. You stagger to your feet. Search for Ellis, find him near the helm, breathing hard, blood on his knuckles. "It's done," he says. You don't answer, you just look at the sky and wonder what's coming next. You walk to the captain's quarters. Push open the door. It creaks like it's in pain. The room reeks of mold, old blood, and something worse, and something unnatural. Symbols are carved into the walls, crude, desperate. You don't recognize the language. His journal lies open on the desk, pages stained with water and ink. You flip through them, gibberish, then lists, names. Yours is underlined. So is Ellis's, then dates, events. Some haven't happened yet. You shut the book, you leave the room. The crew watches you when you step back on deck. No one speaks. The wind has dropped, the rain has stopped, but the silence remains. Ellis walks beside you. He was too far gone. You nod. So are we. You both stare out at the horizon. There's no land in sight. It starts with smoke. Not thick, not choking. Just a whisper of it. A scent that curls around your senses like a memory. The kind of smell that reminds you of burned letters or the way your hands trembled the first time you threw something important into the fire. It doesn't come from the galley, it comes from below. The hold has always been a place of shadows. Crates stacked like coffins, barrels sweating in the dark, old ropes and older secrets. But now there's something else. Something that hums against your skin. You descend alone. The rest of the crew pretends they don't notice. No one volunteers to come. No one stops you either. The ladder groans, the hatch closes behind you. The air thickens. Your boots crunch on something soft, not sawdust, ash. There are symbols drawn into the walls with it. Circles, lines, things that look almost like eyes, or wounds. You step over a scorched mark that looks like it was burned into the wood by something that shouldn't burn. You don't breathe too deeply. In the far corner, something moves. You freeze. It's not a rat, not a man. It's too still for a living thing, but too wrong to be dead. It looks at you, and you look back. The eyes aren't human. They're old, tired, and yet alert. Like something that has waited a long time for this moment. You don't remember leaving the hold, but you're back on deck. The crew is staring. Ellis grabs your shoulder. Your eyes, he says. They were bleeding. They aren't now, but your vision feels wrong. Like the world has shifted half a degree. Like you're watching everything from just behind your own skull. You sleep that night, or try to. You dream of fire, of ropes wrapping around your limbs, of someone whispering your name from inside the walls, of a hand on your chest that isn't warm, and of the ship floating upside down beneath the sea, mirrored perfectly, except no one aboard it is alive. When you wake, your fingers are blistered. Your mouth tastes like ash. Your blanket is damp, but not with sweat. The sea is calm, unnaturally so. The kind of calm that feels like a trap. The sails don't flap. The rigging doesn't creak. Even the gulls are silent. Someone drops a spoon and 3 men flinch. No one speaks of it. The journal you took from the captain's quarters remains locked in your chest. You haven't opened it again. Not since the night of the mutiny. Not since you saw your own name underlined on the list. You think about throwing it overboard, but something stops you. Not fear, not greed, curiosity, or something that wants to be read. Ellis comes to you. He's pale, quieter than usual. I saw him, he says. Who? The captain, in the reflection of the water. Looking up, grinning, he mouthed something. What? Welcome back. You don't laugh. You believe him. That evening, the ship drifts through a patch of water so still it looks like polished glass. Not a ripple, not a wave, just a mirror. And beneath it, not your reflection, but the ship. A second one. Perfectly aligned, silent, inverted. As if the ocean is holding a memory of you, or a version that never came back. 2 days later, the youngest sailor, a boy with a voice too soft for the sea, walks off the edge of the ship. No one sees it. One moment he's there, the next just ripples. His bunk is empty, except for a drawing, charcoal on old parchment, a shape with too many arms, eyes like lanterns, teeth like fish hooks. You burn it without telling the others. That night, the wind returns, but it blows in the wrong direction. The sails twist. The ship lists. You fight the wheel. Ellis takes the helm while you secure the ropes. The sea hisses, black and bubbling like tar. The stars blink out one by one until the sky is empty. Black on black. And then, a voice. Not loud, not cruel, just familiar. Your mother's voice, calling you from below deck, asking for help, saying your full name in the way only she ever did. You step toward the hatch. Ellis grabs your arm. His grip is iron. Don't, he says. It's not her. You nod. You knew that, but your feet didn't. You go back to your cabin, lock the door, sit with the journal in your lap. You open it. The words crawl, not in metaphor. They shift as you look at them. Sentences rearrange, pages feel too warm, too wet. But one page stays still. It's written in a different hand. We are not lost. We are not alone. We are being watched. We are being judged. And something waits beneath. You turn the page, your name again, and beneath it, a date. Tomorrow. You slam the book shut. The cabin light flickers. Something thumps against the hull. You press your ear to the wall and hear breathing. But not the crew, not anyone on board. Something bigger, slower, patient. You barely sleep. Ellis stays near. Neither of you speak much. There's a shared understanding between people who've seen things they shouldn't. He sharpens a knife. You pretend that'll help. In the morning, there's smoke again. But this time, it's on deck. Someone set fire to the rigging. A distraction, a message. You douse it. The crew gathers. Accusations fly. Old grudges surface. Knives are drawn. Someone mentions a name no one has heard before, but it burns in the air like poison. You shout, not a command, a plea. It stops them. You say the truth out loud for the first time, that the sea is cursed, that you're being hunted, that the fire below deck isn't natural, that the journal is changing, that the captain might not be dead, or if he is, he didn't stay that way. Some believe you, some don't, but none of them laugh. You give the journal to Ellis, tell him to guard it. If something happens to you, he nods. That night, the ship groans, the sea rises, and the voices return. Not just your mother's now. Everyone hears someone, a friend, a lover, a child. They speak with perfect clarity, even when mouths stay shut. And the ocean glows, not moonlight, not bioluminescence. Something else. Something from deeper than light should reach. Shapes move beneath the surface, massive, slow, intentional watching, judging. You stand at the bow, Ellis beside you. The crew huddles behind. No one speaks. The sea breathes, and the ship drifts forward into the light. And you realize you're not sailing anymore. You're being taken. Darkness isn't always the absence of light. Sometimes it's something with weight. Something that presses in from all sides, curling against your ribs like it's trying to get inside you. That's what it feels like when the sea swallows the stars. The glow beneath the ship fades, replaced by blackness so thick it could drown you without water. The crew has gone silent. No shouts, no orders, just breathe. And heartbeats. You stand at the bow with Ellis, both of you staring out into a nothing that feels too full. You feel the tremor not in the ship, but in your bones. Like your body remembers a warning your mind hasn't received yet. Then the ship stops moving. No jolt, no impact, just stillness. Like it hit the end of the world and decided to rest, as if the sea has made its judgment and now waits for yours. You look over the side. The water doesn't ripple, doesn't move. It's as still as glass, except it reflects nothing. Not the ship, not the sky, just black. A void pretending to be sea. The crew waits. One by one, men sink to their knees. Not from weakness, from something else. A pressure, an understanding. Like a courtroom where no one dares speak. You feel it too. Judgment. It's not a person, not a creature, not even a god. It's an awareness. Something ancient and vast and so far beyond what your mind was built to contain that your skull aches just being near it. It's like being beneath a mountain that never moves, but could. And it's looking at you. No eyes, no face, but it sees you. And in its gaze you feel all the moments you regret. Not the loud sins, but the quiet ones. The silence when you should have spoken, the glances you didn't return, the kindness you withheld. One of the crew begins to sob. Another starts laughing. It's not madness, it's revelation. The mind cracking under weight it wasn't made to carry. You want to join them. You want to scream and cry and laugh and kneel all at once. But you stand still. Because something inside you whispers, wait. The sea stirs, just a ripple. Just enough to let you know it's still alive. Or awake. Or aware. And then something rises. It doesn't break the surface. It doesn't need to. But you feel it. Like a mountain surfacing beneath your feet. Like a heart beating beneath the ship. The hull moans in response, as if in recognition or in fear. A voice enters your mind. Not words, not sound. Just meaning. You have carried death. You have spilled blood. You have wandered too far into the mouth of the forgotten. Your knees buckle. Ellis catches you. You don't thank him? You can't. The air is too heavy, like it's thickened with memory. Images flash behind your eyes. Not memories, not dreams. Warnings. Cities drowning. Fire on water. Bones stacked like currency. A map made of scars. You see the captain's face? Not as it was, but as it will be. Something stretched and hollowed and full of teeth. Something that once wore skin. And then it shows you yourself. Not who you are. Who you might become. A mirror fogged with time. Cracked in places you didn't know existed. You see yourself standing on a different deck. A different ship. Eyes like glass. Mouth whispering things you no longer understand. You're not steering, you are being steered. By something inside you. Or beneath. The voice returns. Choose, that's all. Just that one word. And you understand. This is not damnation, it's invitation. You can return. Pretend none of this happened. Leave the ship. Go back to land. Touch dirt again. Let time wash it all away. Start over. Forget. Sleep. Or you can stay. Not as you. As something else. A vessel. A witness. A herald. You look at Ellis. His face is pale, eyes wide. He sees something too. But it's not the same. Each man sees his own trial, his own potential future, his own cost. You turn. The crew waits. Some have accepted. You can see it in their faces. Peaceful, hollow. Others resist, fists clenched, teeth bared. The ones who resist seem younger, like hope hasn't yet left their bones. And some have gone somewhere else entirely. Blank eyes, mouth slightly open. Breathing but not present. Like puppets between performances. You speak. Only 3 words. We go back. It breaks the spell. Like glass shattering, some cheer, some weep, some fall to the deck. But the sea doesn't move. You look down again. Still black, still waiting. You close your eyes. Think of the journal, of the name, of the date. Today. You step to the edge of the ship. Place your hand on the railing. Whisper one thing. I choose to remember. And the ocean answers. A wave rises not from storm, from choice. It lifts the ship, carries it, and you sail. Not away, but through. Through something that is not sea, not sky, not dream. Something older than tides, deeper than guilt, wiser than gods. The world bends. Colors shift, sounds stretch. Time forgets itself. Voices echo. Some are yours, some are never were. You are everywhere. You are nowhere. Then light. Real light. Sunlight. And the ship bursts into it, breaking through a veil you didn't know existed. Blue sky, white clouds, the sound of birds. The kind of beauty that hurts to look at. Because it means you lived. The crew collapses. Their bodies slack with release. You grip the railing until your fingers bleed. Not from fear. From holding on too tightly to something you're afraid to lose again. Ellis stares at the sun like he's seeing it for the first time. Like he doesn't trust it. You don't speak. You don't cheer. You breathe. Hours pass, maybe more. The sea is normal again. Moving, laughing, alive. The journal is gone. So is the mark on your chest you didn't remember getting. A shape that you now realize matched one of the symbols in the hold. The ship sails toward a coastline. You don't recognize it, but it doesn't matter. Maybe you were never meant to. Maybe this isn't a return. Maybe it's another beginning. You survived, or something wearing your skin did. As land approaches, Ellis stands beside you. Think it's over? He asks. You think of the voice, of the choice, of what waited beneath. You shake your head. No. And somewhere beneath the waves, something listens. If you made it this far, then maybe you heard it too. The silence beneath the waves. The voice that wasn't yours but knew your name. These aren't just stories. They're warnings, echoes, reflections of something deeper, darker, and far too close. If this journey shook you, if it stayed with you longer than it should have, then you're exactly where you're supposed to be. We tell stories like these every week. So if you're drawn to what waits below the surface, hit subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Because some things only show themselves after midnight. And down here, we never sleep.